So Matt, tell us about your collaboration that you did with Goose Island. What exactly do you guys do? Do you collaborate on a beer with ingredients or in process, or how did it work out?
In a sense, it was both because, Goose Island, they have a smaller craft brew called Fulton and Wood Brewery. They make all the Matilda, Sophie, and stuff like that. And they reached out to us because they wanted to do a special beer where they wanted to infuse as much sake brewing process as they could. So what they did is they wanted to make a saison and also use koji, which is an essential ingredient for sake, and then finish it with a sake yeast. So what we did was provide them with the koji.
So what is koji?
Koji is a rice that is the equivalent to malted barley. What you do is you wash and soak and steam the rice till it's really soft, and then you inoculate it with a mold. And what that mold does is it sits in a room that's like a sauna, which is the ideal environment for mold growth. And this mold will just basically work its way into the inner core of the rice and start chewing up those starch chains and converting them into fermentable sugars.
So sake is akin to beer and mold is akin to yeast, more or less. Is that correct?
The koji making process is kind of like the malted barley process, and then the yeast is the same.
Okay, so the koji happens before. So your koji is like your mash, right?
Well, you make a yeast starter called a moto.
Okay.
And you let that go for anywhere between 1 week to 4 weeks. And then what you do after that is you essentially build a mash. So the moto would be about 30 liters, and then you double the size of it 4 times over the course of a week until you end up with like a 1,000-liter mash that it's an open fermentation that looks like oatmeal. And that koji is still active at the same time as the yeast. So it's called multiple parallel fermentation.
Sounds complicated.
Yeah, it's a steep learning curve, but once you really get in the hang of it and you're doing it, it makes a lot more sense.
So tell me a little about the beer you guys collaborated with.
Well, the name of the beer is Kisetsu, and they reached out to us.
Kisetsu?
So Kisetsu is the Japanese word for season, like saison is the French word for season.
Gotcha.
So it's a saison sake hybrid. So they just wanted to make it as complicated as possible. That's what they say in the video. But so what they did is they just did a real quick step infusion mash and just made as much fermentable sugar as possible for the saison yeast, and they let that go. And then after it made a certain amount of fermentation done, they crashed it down, stripped the yeast off, and then moved it into another fermenter. And that's where they added the koji and the sake yeast and essentially fermented it like they would a sake. And let that go. So it is, in its truest sense, a hybrid.
So does it, as far as flavor-wise, does it taste like a saison, or what would you compare it to?
If you're not familiar with sake flavors and profiles and stuff like that, the saison characteristic of it will dominate, but at the same time, it's over 10%. So that high alcohol kind of does release a lot of the sake yeast notes. At least you get a lot of fruity flavors and a few esters, but then also the koji provides a subtle, like nutty, cedary characteristic to it. So it makes for a medium body with very substantial, long-lasting head.
Sweet. And you guys are gonna get a couple of kegs of that here, right?
Yeah, we just got them 2 days ago. So
when do we tapping those?
We're gonna be tapping them on Thursday, so that is February 5th or 6th. Not sure. And then we'll also be releasing our Junmai Genshi sake.
Your what?
Our newest sake of the year, our first one of the season.
And what's the name of it?
The name of it is Junmai Genshi, which is the equivalent of calling something like a porter or an IPA.
Okay.
So it's just the name of the style.
All right.
And that's 17% sake as well. So it'll be a fun night.
I think there's a lot of, I know for myself, probably a lot of education that needs to be done with sake.
And we are more than happy to do that at any time. So if you ever come down to moto-i and see me there, feel free to.
Cool, yeah. And moto-i is?
It's in uptown Minneapolis at the intersection of Lake and Lindale.
Sweet. And we can find you on the Facebook and internet. And if people have questions about sake, should they send you a tweet?
Yeah, I have a Twitter account. It's Brewing with Matt, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have.
Cool.
I'd love to increase the sake awareness as much as possible. So.
Thanks, Matt. Can't wait to try it.
Yeah, I hope you do.